Shut the hell up, yo.
Da.
This is episode 4983. Hey guys, welcome to the Mo and O show. My name is Omar.
And I am Mo Morales. Is there like a pause for that? I feel like a pregnant pause. Say
I
more.
just was hoping that the first intro ever would be normal. This is a podcast for people who like to waste time. And really, it's about two friends hanging out. It's mostly tech, photography, food, and just hanging out and having a good time.
Whatever comes out of our mouths is what you're going to enjoy. You're welcome.
Basically, it's a good excuse to see my best friend
That's
ever.
what it's
We've
all
been
about.
best
Yes, sir.
friends for, like 2 years.
I think I met him last week. He kept coming through my garbage.
Hey, it's been a while. Asmer. We need an Asmer.
I can't. You blocked me.
All right. The Asmer today will be removing batteries from a battery thing. Oh, God. Forget it. The beard wins. I know a good Asmer. You ready for the photographers? This is the shutter on the Fuji X-T2. Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
You feel it?
yes.
Give me the shutter on your camera. What does that sound like?
This little camera sounds like this.
Boom. Oh, please.
It's like a crunchy leaf.
Yeah. It's so lame. It's like blook, blook.
It's like a crunchy little leaf.
So we're going to talk about this camera today. What is this?
This is the Sony RX100 Mark VI.
There's a Sony in my home office. Burn it.
He loves it, folks.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk gear a little bit on, point and shoots are not dead. They're just getting more freaking expensive.
Very expensive. Very expensive.
Because they're putting in technology from the big boys into like a really small package. And I think only photographers will appreciate this.
So speaking of, I got a friend who works over at the Sony office here in New Jersey, and he asked me, hey, you shoot big boy cameras all the time. I want to be able to go out to tell my clients when they put this on their shelves that this camera can hold its own against the big boys. And I said, no camera can do that in that size. But he gave it to me. He let me use it for 3 weeks. And I will say for a 1-inch sensor, I was very happy and very impressed with it. I think the biggest problem I found with the RX100 Mark VI was the $1,200 price tag.
Damn.
Besides that, if I was to take it on a trip with me, you know how much I would. It has a 24 to 200 equivalent.
The zoom is the selling point.
Yes.
The zoom, and I think people who are maybe trying to buy a point and shoot, that's what they need over their phone. They are at the zoo, or they want really zoomed in pictures that are good.
Now this is a small sensor, but it's like twice to 3 times bigger than a cell phone sensor. And what I found, Omar, I took this to the streets of New York last week.
Okay.
And this became a weapon.
Oh.
This became an amazing.
Because of the sharp edge right here.
Well, it's not that kind of weapon.
Like jugular.
I could take a shot 200 millimeters away, and no one will have any idea that I was taking that shot. As well as nice wide open 24 millimeter, and the shots were simply amazing.
Wow.
I was so impressed with it.
So this is great for people who are like me, like kind of nervous. You could be across the street and
Across the street and bring everything to you.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
exactly what it did. And the photos were sharp, clear, and amazing. Even the ones that I took. So at one point, I put the camera in my hand down here by my hip, and I was walking with it, and I had it lens pointed out like this.
For those people on the YouTube channel, you know what we're doing.
So
but if you're listening to the podcast, Mo is holding it in his left hand.
And I started swinging it, and
he's swinging it.
When I would bring it back, I would aim it at someone and snap the picture. And let's say I take 15 pictures like that. 4 of them were usable, and they were blur effect, and it was really nice. It was like, this is my new favorite street photography camera. I'm not going to bring my big girl anywhere. As long as I hold on to this one until I have to give it back, I'm going to keep rocking this one. I'm probably going to take it one more week out into the streets, and that way we have more pictures and more stuff to show. But it was such, again, $1,200 is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. That's the biggest decision because it's a win. The camera is a full out win.
Nothing this camera did was I disappointed with. Understanding it's a point and shoot. Ultimately, it's a point and shoot.
Yeah.
It's a great point and shoot. It's got a 1-inch sensor.
You're not messing with aperture and shutter, and really, it's just for the fun of photography, right?
Right. Like honestly, I shot it on auto half the time. If not, I did put it on manual a few times, and I was able to get some really nice portraits. I showed you one earlier.
Yeah.
On manual. So if you want to dial play with it, you still can. It's such a versatile camera, and I think if you have the expendable cache and you want something that you don't have to take your 70-200 with you on the street or any of your other lenses and just carry something that fits in your pocket.
Absolutely. Remember you came up, we were in Hoboken, we met, and I'm like, where's your damn camera? We were supposed to shoot.
It's in my pocket. And that's exactly where it was.
Totally had no bag, nothing. And even this Fuji X-T2 is just kind of big. But here's my hang up on it.
Wait, let me give you one drawback to this camera. Okay. And it goes to every RX100 model from 1 to 6. Battery life sucks.
They all suck. I mean, these guys, this is the Fuji X-T2 20 here, and these are the batteries. But yours was really bad. Yours like ran out.
Yeah, so basically, I let's say 3 or 4 hours of shooting, very little video, and I had to save it because I wanted to make sure I could get back from the ferry and take some shots, but I was at that last little icon where, if you know most of these cameras, they blink once and then they shut off for the rest of the day. You're done. So I think if you get something like this, any of the RX100 model cameras, you better have at least 3 batteries.
Yeah.
1 in the camera and 2 ready to go.
I think that is a general rule for most mirrorless systems is I got 3 if I'm going out. Like if we're on vacation, 3, and I go through 2.
Another advantage.
Yeah.
You could charge it directly from here. So you could just plug in a USB type micro.
You can carry a brick with you.
Right, and you could charge it right there, which is what I did. So there is a little bit of an advantage to having such that poor battery life. So again, if you guys are looking for something and you have the expendable cache, there's no way I cannot recommend this one.
Well, that's what I was about to say is like, it seems like this camera is perfect for someone vlogging because it flips, someone who wants it in their pocket, right? And has the cache. You need that third one, has the cache, because there's so many better, not better, we shouldn't say that because everyone's needs are different, but you can get like more bang for your buck with $1,200. You can get like full.
You can buy bigger kits.
Bigger kits.
But that's the whole thing. This camera, for its size, for what it gives you, there's nothing in this format that you're going to get that's better than this in
that format. And that's the key
word.
The
Panasonic has the ZS200, and that's a really good camera with a really good zoom, but it's not as good as this one.
Okay.
You know, it's as if you can't afford this one, look that one up.
That's like $700
right,
maybe.
$700.
All right, that's getting more in the range of I think who's buying point and shoots. I think people going on vacation that want a bit of zoom. I still don't understand the market. And I don't even know if the companies know.
No, they don't, because this is their first venture into it. And I watched the YouTube video the other day, and they said that they probably should have named this the RX200 so that it keeps within the family, but it starts a new genre.
Oh, okay, because the other ones made sense to me.
And they're all anywhere from 24, 28 to 70 millimeter equivalents on the other ones.
So the ones before this, like the 4, the 3, weren't they all in the $1,000 range, these point and shoots?
No. The 5 was about close to $1,000.
The other ones were 800.
About close to 800,
okay.
900. So this one has a more improved autofocus. The 5 had the first super improved autofocus where it would focus in 0.05 seconds.
Wow.
This one focuses in 0.03 seconds.
So what are your thoughts on this? Because I was reading an article on how the companies and software is getting so much smarter. We're talking like 5 years from now, even now, that the camera is doing so much more for a photographer. Where's the balance between like learning the skill and, you know what, let the camera sort of deal with everything. ISO, finding a face, finding an eye, focus, even
eye focus.
Totally. So what are your thoughts on how much technology is helping us, but at what point is it like, you know, the camera will do everything?
I think we're very close to that if we're not. I mean, this on auto, adjust the aperture, the shutter, the ISO. It does everything perfect. I was amazed with how great the auto pictures were.
Absolutely, but there's got to be something where like if you want to blur a cyclist going by, you know, like the camera will never know what you're trying to do.
So never misunderstand that a camera that can do everything cannot do art.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about a photographer. I always say we're creators and we're artists.
Yeah.
And as long as you have great tools like this, you can still create an art.
Yeah.
And but this thing where you're saying like the camera does it all, that's when you're out on vacation enjoying yourself and you don't want to think, put this thing on auto and let it be itself. But if you're going to use this for anything else and you want to add a flare to it, there's manual settings, there's aperture settings, there's shutter speed settings. You still have control to create your own art.
You're right. So like, for example, the Fuji X-T20.
Ding.
I can flick it to auto for video. Like I'll put it on video mode and flip it to auto, and great for me on vacation. But the camera's still not smart enough. It will adjust exposure if it sees like a black t-shirt or something. It will just exposure during like shooting. So I'm thinking down the road, automated features may be better where the camera can like lock on a face that you tell it and it will not let go. It won't do any of that focus wavering where like sees a tree and it's like
look, it's a pretty tree. No.
Yeah. So that's what I mean is the cameras are smart and they're getting better and better and better. There's gonna be a point where, you know what, everyone can be a photographer. And really, the only thing that's going to set people apart is really what you said. Like, it doesn't make an artist. They have to know that.
What you want blurred out, what you want doing this, what you want in your
composition,
mind.
what do you want the story in the photograph to be? And also, if you're shooting weddings, like people will hire you for you, not that your pictures are a certain color or tack sharp. They'll hire you as the person.
So let's go sideways about technology.
Okay.
Here. So the Google Pixel 3 was just announced.
That's right.
Right. And if you guys know anything out there about the Google Pixel cameras, they're software algorithm-based cameras. And they feed back to Google. So what that means is the pictures you're taking on your Pixel,
okay,
how the algorithm figured out how to get the best picture for you, not the actual picture, but the data and processing goes back to the motherland.
All right.
That makes the algorithm smarter and smarter and smarter. So the Pixel 3's camera can now take, when you hit the shutter button, it can now take 12 pictures.
What?
Just in case you have a kid in your hand, and the kid jumps, and when the last picture shows up that's out of focus, it's all blurry. Now the camera says, no, wait. Let's go back over here. This one looks perfect that you want this one. Take this one instead. It'll take so many pictures as you shutter it.
But it'll find that it can...
It's smart enough to go back and recommend the one for you.
Wow.
And in multiple recommends in case you didn't like the one it gives you first. It won't be long until someone takes that Google software and algorithm and applies it to these DSLRs. These point and shoots and the DSLRs and whatever it is out there, so that camera will then sooner or later will know exactly what you're trying to do.
As soon as you maybe flip it this way,
snap.
It'll know how many people... It'll know distance. So, for example, it should know that it can't shoot at 2.0 because your friend's going to be out of focus.
No, it does know that. That's how when it does.
No, not this, but you're saying the Google Pixel?
So the Google does know that because when it does a portrait photograph with just one camera, as opposed to every other maker out there has two cameras that do portrait shots.
Okay.
It knows you're this far back, that's that far back, based on contrast and other things, and it's smart enough to know how far you are to create the depth behind you.
Oh, you mean the bokeh effect kind of thing?
Yeah. So it's coming.
Yeah.
Coming.
So the technology that I would love is sometimes I've gotten a picture back that I shoot at like 1.2, and dang, I miss the like exact pupil or like the reflections in the eye. The image is either still usable or not. So Canon came out with the technology where you can, it's called like a...
refocus?
Yeah, it's like a dual pixel RAW file or something where you can actually refocus by a certain amount. But to shoot in that format was like bulky files, and it was a pain to like use you can only use Canon software to get it. But they have cameras already that you can shoot and change the depth later. I would love to see that in a RAW file in the future where you can change your aperture like later, you know?
It's coming. Google has where we could refocus it. It already has that.
Boy.
And it has where you could adjust the blur. So it's you're playing with the aperture supposedly.
So you could basically like point your phone and be like, vacation shot, got to go to the restaurant, and then later make it what you want.
Yes.
Like, man.
Yeah. So
can you go wider later? Like, will it record it on a different, how many cameras does it have?
So the new Pixel 3 has one rear-facing camera and two front-facing camera.
Oh.
A regular,
standard, and then the wide for selfies?
Ultra-wide, where you can take like 8, 9 people in one shot. So now, based on your handshake and the distance in front of you, you can create a digital zoom that's better than some optical zooms.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
So
your handshake, like as a gesture, you mean?
It takes your movements and the slight movements in your hand and calculates a couple things that it's in front of it. So when you go out to zoom, you could zoom further than the optical zoom that's in here.
Oh, wow.
So you can create a digital zoom, which it's only been released for 4 days now.
Okay.
But based on what's been seen and tested, it looks great.
Oh, man.
So Google will be your daddy soon.
The phone still has no headphone jack, though. But it's got a glass back. You can...
It's wireless charging.
Wireless
glass
charging
back.
now?
And it comes with a earbuds with the USB Type-C dongle connector.
Oh, that's cool.
As well as a dongle.
All right, they gave you... Apple didn't do that.
No, they didn't do it. And plus, you get a fast charging brick in it.
Oh, my gosh. So the
And
future...
it starts $200 cheaper than the Apple one.
Oh, my gosh. We're going to get Cap out of here.
Bye, Cap. Love you.
Just because he wasn't,
He wasn't participating. Slacker.
So the Sony sounds great. I think my most pocketable camera is the Fuji X-T20, but I think that's what I was saying is I don't know. This is like the perfect travel camera for me. Going on a crazy trip and bringing something that's that small would make me nervous.
What do you mean, like to miss something or it?
It's a good point. Like it shouldn't make me nervous. It
should
could do everything.
It is designed to do everything in a very basic format, but in a format that you're still going to be happy with.
And people see the photos and see the videos, they would never know what camera it is. So it's all in here. Like I need something that has interchangeable lenses.
It's a 20 plus megapixels in here.
It's got all the full range, 24 to
7. It's got 24 200. It's got it doesn't have an ND filter, but I don't care about that because again, I'm not doing video with this one.
Totally.
So you have to think about that. That's what you lose when you went from the 5 to the 6.
It also doesn't ultra wide. It doesn't do ultra wide. So if you were in a cathedral, that 24 is a little lame.
Again, what are you doing with it though?
Yeah,
I mean, what would you be carrying normally?
You could always stitch. I mean, you know.
It does a great panoramic.
All right.
No, I'm kidding.
Right.
I don't know if it does panoramic.
Just like throwing features in there.
And it brushes your teeth in the morning while it rubs your foot and calls you a daddy.
Go Sony! All right, so I want to talk about a little nightmare that I had as far as data goes. And I know you are a little bit of a slacker too, right? Like moving your files and backing up your files. Am I right?
I know what you're talking about.
It's going to take the
my
fit.
water.
But as a working photographer, I have to make sure that my stuff's backed up. And I had... Basically, the way I work is like this. I have 3 main drives that have my work stuff. The first one's called the working drive. It's the fastest drive, and it's a RAID 1. That means it makes an exact copy, a mirrored drive. And that guy is the one I work off as the jobs are still active. So that means that the person's album still needs to be delivered. That means that their party was recent. When that job is over, that stuff gets copied to what's called the archive drive. Okay, so that's number 2. The second drive is my archive drive, and that fills up with all 2018 stuff. Okay, but the stuff that's on that archive drive gets erased from the main drive. Okay, now it exists here, but it needs to exist somewhere else. So the third drive is always cloning that drive. It's called the dumb archive drive copy. Okay, so that one never gets touched except it's like always looking. And by the way, this is all copied with software, like it's doing its own thing. Nightmare scenario. The archive drive, the main one, just my computer couldn't see it. It couldn't mount, and I can't see the files. So I took it out of its enclosure because it's an enclosure with like 5 drives, and I put it in a toaster, not like for breakfast, like that little toaster thing over there. And it still couldn't see it. So I have this great software called like Dr. Disk. And it saw all the files. Like I ran the software and it basically scanned the disk and the files are all there. But something went corrupt on the drive and I think I know what happened. I didn't know this could be an issue, but my Mac turned itself off because it had some kind of like power surge or, like my stuff's plugged into surge protectors and things. But my Mac told me that it had to shut itself off because of some kind of power. And I think that did something to the drive that was in there. To make a long story short, I know now I need some kind of battery backup. They sell these, there's this company, they're called UPSs, uninterrupted power supply. You have one or you have one, you mother?
Yeah. So the only reason I have one is, I worked at some place that closed and it just gave it to me. It's big, it's heavy, but it's got a built-in battery that'll last about 4 hours.
Wow. So you have your computer and your laptop and stuff plugged into it? Are you actually using
Yes.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And it even regulates the electricity that comes into your house for like surges and drops in power.
Yeah, Monster also makes those kind of power surge protectors where they not only are supposedly protecting your computer against minor shocks, but it actually is grounded and then sends the power another way. So,
But now I'm working off the dummy copy. And luckily I had that because everything does exist in the cloud, but it's great to have a hard copy of stuff here.
you don't have to waste time because it's hard working off
Totally. And so tell me about your like shortcomings, what you need to fix in your, and maybe we can help people decide like, hey, where are your pictures? If right now all your pictures are on just one laptop, you're kind of playing with fire because I've had a few drives fail. I've had computers that need to, you take them to the Apple store and they need to like reboot them and refresh them and you would lose stuff.
Yeah, so I've improved compared to the last time we talked about this. So basically, as soon as I upload my photos to my Mac, it creates a copy on a separate hard drive via the Time Machine.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then I have two other drives going where I have my Lightroom stuff that's been completed, where it backs itself up, where it backs up the stuff. Omar's gonna beat me like a dog later.
Mo hits the freaking microphone 9 times an episode. Do you actually have one Lightroom catalog for everything, all your jobs, or do you do individual jobs?
I don't have one for each individual job, but if I edit for you, there's an Omar catalog. If I'm doing glamour portraits, there's
got it, like that genre.
right. If there's a family portrait, there's a different.
Oh, that makes
catalog
sense.
for that.
And that's kind of good because then you can open up a catalog that is like all your, if you're going to see a client or something, you can show them all the wedding stuff or all the...
Right. What I need to do is sit down with you now that I have some kind of format file going, is actually go through how you create all those subfolders and stuff like that. I really love that. And it's really impressive. But when you showed me first time, I really didn't have the setup to handle that.
I need to make a video on it. I did make a video on like where all my data goes. But I'm actually making a video on my culling process because I met up with a photographer friend and he's kind of like drowning in edits because he shoots like 3 weddings a weekend. Mm-hmm. I'm like, damn, that's a lot.
Make that money, son.
Yeah, totally. That's a lot. So he needs to come up with a system. And I was explaining my system, but I'm like, I'll make a video for you.
That's probably a 2-parter. How to cull. And then once you cull, what do you do with your folders or, it's your video. You do what you want.
Well, you don't own me.
I'm your daddy. I've used that word 3 times this week.
Are we going to talk about anything else?
No, because we really don't have enough time to get into it. Other than you don't like altered carbon.
Let's finish with that. So talk about Junkie Show of the Year.
Oh, my God, folks. So, folks, before you write and judge, go watch on Netflix a sci-fi show called Altered Carbon. It's based on...
Even the name is stupid.
It's based on where your life is not stored in here. It kind of captures your soul into this little disc, which is stored in the back of your brain. And as the body deteriorates, if you have the money or if you moderately have some money, you could switch bodies out and keep your whole memory, your soul, and everything in this one disc. And if that disc is destroyed, that's the only time you truly die. It was the most original sci-fi show I've seen in years, and I loved it. And Omar watched it for 10 minutes and gave it a thumbs down and says it's the devil's work.
Shouldn't the show, like, the first episode really reel you in, like Stranger Things or Breaking Bad? Like the first one reels you in. And
You're
I watched.
A show snob.
Yeah, well, come on, work that pilot, yo.
That's to me. I loved it right off the bat. So we're different when it comes to that kind of stuff. I loved it right off the bat, and
the anti-hero, the main guy, he was like so unbelievable. He was like an a-hole, and were we supposed to like him? I don't know.
I liked him.
Well, you're an a-hole
because he's an anti-hero. Exactly what an anti-hero is someone who's not normally placed in the hero position.
I think what got me in the first episode is like, why would he even help these people or take this job? Like
because he was promised freedom.
I don't know. He was like so aloof and like he didn't care about anything.
He didn't want to do it.
Didn't he want to die or something?
He didn't want to do it. He wanted to go back and just escape all this stuff. But then he realized that he's dealing with people so rich that he really would never be able to escape. So helping them would be the only way to help himself.
All right.
Why don't you guys watch it? Let us know.
Let us know below. Altered Junk.
Oh, Dios mío.
No, maybe I'll give it a chance. I'll give it episode 2, 5 minutes.
Bang this
you
microphone.
Sound like one of the Simpsons there. It's like, Marge.
All right, folks. Really, thank you for joining us. If you like our stuff, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you want to subscribe. Maybe even share us to your friends because they're missing out on what this lovely group of people are enjoying. The two of our fans,
and we really appreciate your comments. Those of you that are so nice in the comments, it really means a lot. And we'll see you guys next time.
Altered Carbon. You see that?
Oh, okay. Screenshot time.